Yo, what's up, guys? Yes, still playing the all accounts. People were asking for a Punisher script team. Punisher script for early game is actually one of the harder dungeons out there to run fast or to run in the first place. And that is mainly because of the final boss being a little bit annoying because you have cleanses over here on the left, or was the right one? Yeah, you have like cleanses and like speed increases, attack bar increases, all of that stuff. So in a lot of cases, you have to go left crystal, right crystal, and then the boss, especially for the early game. There are the typical teams with like multiple doggos and those kind of things out there, which are fairly common, but those already need a bit of rune quality where you actually do some damage and you do work on some stuff. This team is actually runed in particular where I did not use any of my grinded runes yet. I still have like legit everything is runed on whatever. So if you want to have something that runs on just whatever, these are kind of the units that I would recommend. And out of those five, I would say two are a must and the others are kind of optional and you could go for whatever you have runed up. So let's look at this run finishing. I will look at like a full run later on, but what are the units that we're mainly mentioning is the Siren and the Nickel, which is the living armor in the middle. So as I mentioned, it is not fast at all. This is just to get something running. And what can you do with just something running? Well, you're gonna need some artifacts on the right side, but early game you're gonna need not that many artifacts on the right side. Artifact on the left side, which is from the Steel Fortress, are a lot more interesting because that's where you're gonna get your damage increase. So that is definitely one that you're looking out for. This one, I can scout battle it right now. It would cost a good amount to actually scout battle this if we were to scout battle this. So if we're looking over here, the scout battle would now say that a full, we can scout battle for how long? Yeah, 100 and, no, wait, not that one. Yeah, 180 on this, which is not that much. It is 30 less than this, but you could get your first few in there the moment you start running it like we just ran it right there. So at least you can do something if you really don't like this dungeon. And early on, if you're looking at most of the guys that I made, it was all Julie one-shotting the boss and that kind of stuff, which is not really the case. But units that I really recommend to have guaranteed is the Siren. Well, you should have already built that for pretty much Necro and all of the other content. I have it max skilled to the point where this is enough for me. I don't care about this one being max. This one being max is also not interesting. The S3 being max is really nice. Why is she really good? Well, she has attack breaks on the boss, which is really nice. For a team up, it will go for an attack break. But also, of course, the defense break with a team up. Plus, it is a dark element, and I'm using it as the only dark element in there. A lot of people might be thinking it's like, oh, I'm going to use Crow, and Crow is going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, a little bit more late game focus because Crow will also take a lot of damage. So if we are very early game still, I would recommend the Siren. And then if you do have something that is damage minus light, that's what you want to aim for. But the other unit that's even more important is this thing, Nickel. And you just have to make a second awakening. You don't need any skill ups in it. But why is he that good? Well, it's because of his passive. The moment that he gets hit, he will also provide a slow on the boss. And looking at the mechanics of this boss, is it in here somewhere? Yeah, it's like you're gonna be taking less damage based on how much speed you have and that kind of stuff. So if you slow is technically a defense break for this unit, which is really nice. And I think he also does remove the speed buff itself. In addition, removes one beneficial effect granted on the attacker and then decrease. So if he has a speed buff, you always or also remove the speed buff and then you do this. Another thing that makes him pretty good is that he has an AoE hit for a defense break that makes the, if you make him move early, it's not really the perfect tuning. I would say that Vert moving all the way last is probably the strongest out there, definitely not moving first. So as I mentioned, I just ruined whatever at it. These fight sets, like don't get discouraged by these fight sets. These are just the fight sets that I claimed from the moment you could craft 5 sets and it just had to equip something to it. Like you could be legit on any kind of rune set, fight sets totally not needed. But yeah, he has a defense break, and then the Rogue can start clearing the waves a little bit faster. And this skill is also pretty nice for the team up, that if something has a defense break already, you're providing another slow. So that adds in a lot of slows towards the boss. So it has the strip for the speed buff of the boss, but also then the slow, which makes it very easy. If you want to have the proper tuning, I would definitely say that, sure, you want to keep him in the lead, but I would say make Nickel move first, Rogue second, then you can already have a lot of team ups over there. Tark on third, Siren on fifth, and then Vert or Siren on fourth, and Vert on the fifth. And as mentioned, I just threw whatever at it. Like these runes, by all means, are nothing crazy good. I did go through artifacts and just throw like some light artifacts at it. But the main thing that I wanted to do at this is make at least a run of 30 Then I can scout battle a little bit more, and therefore I will get some better things in. And then I will at some point work towards an actual proper team. Proper team will probably be looking like still having this thing in there. The units outside of that, I'm not 100% sure yet. What I will definitely do is go for a Julie. And Julie, I don't have just yet, but that is that Lucian-looking thing that we always have in like these speedruns. And then I go for some defense break after, and then 2 nuking units, and then we go straight to boss. But in current state of the game, I can definitely not do this. If you want to run more Punisher Crypt in it, but you don't really feel like, hey, doing this during the... or doing this for Scout Battle is kind of a waste-ish because I do get 30 less runs in. Yeah, is an option. What you could then do is use all of your energy during the Amelia's Blessing on this. Especially if you cannot look at your phone for like 45 minutes or an hour. This is really a chill thing to just let it run for 45 minutes or an hour. And then on the Amelia's Luck, you will have like 5 times drop rate or 4 times drop rate. And you're going to get a lot in with that over here. And this run, I don't really see it fail anytime soon. The Syrian is kind of there for tanking. The others, as mentioned, just have like legit whatever runs. But this is the moment, like if these things start hitting on a crow might die because a crow is actually somewhat damage built. The Syrian thing is just like a bit of tankiness and that kind of stuff. So it's all good and no much worries on that whatsoever. Actually, the Vert moving all the way first isn't that bad now to think of it, because these things also gain attack bar. So Vert boosting everyone fairly far over like the 100 mark is not that bad at all. And then I could say that you could replace the Targ for Nikaru. That is definitely an option. Or you could put some other kind of damage dealer that you're using in there. It's totally fine. As long as you're just not using anything that pushes back. Anything that pushes back will give the boss an instant turn. And you don't really want to do that, because the more turns this boss has, the more this thing will stack. And at some point he starts dealing an insane amount of damage. So having a long fight against him is not that bad, as long as he's just not getting that many turns. And that's why you see we have the brand in there, we have the attack break in there, we have the slow in there, we have the defense break in there. And that just makes this boss really simple in the first place. And as mentioned, you don't need to have too many of these artifacts just yet, so you don't really have to hard focus on it. But in case that you just simply wanted to have a team and you are just working on your dimensional hole energy and you already made like a whole bunch of 2As and you're not really sure what else to make, then that is something that you could sidetrack on. It's like, hey, let's just make some of those. For me personally, I've also been having to make a lot of 2As already. Did make the Vigor for a Siege content. I made the Lulu for Siege content. What else did I make? I made the Colleen, but I already did it for our 5-way prior, actually. These not really. I did make a Spectra, but not really planning to use it too much. I made a Seth, also PvP content later on. I made a Thrain, very good friend of Seth, also PvE content later on. And those are the most 2As that I made. And then I made a whole lot of duplicate 2As just to feed into those. I also did already finish the 2A for you, but I just don't have the skill ups just yet. So that's also something you have to keep in mind. You actually have to get all of those skill ups to actually get anywhere. We did also pull this one, which is going to be a very nice combination for the speed lead for a bunch of PvP content later. So we're kind of slowly chipping in towards PvP content. I did also up all of my runes already. I think I'm kind of done with necro farming right now. I think I have a fair bit of, let's say, crit damages 4. Also, if we're selecting that, okay, on Rage, we don't have too many of those yet, but we have a few on like a few different places, so we can work with things that we can actually make towards a Giants team. And that is also what I think I will be doing next. I think I did do a fair bit of a stable necro farming so far, and also always when you start the recording, your team is almost always dying and that kind of stuff. It just happens, so it's just a slow run, like it doesn't really die. It still had enough firepower in there. But yeah, from here on out, I think I will be farming a bit of Giants because, as mentioned, I am going to be feeding away the Teshar. I won't be feeding away the Teshar right away, which I thought I was going to do because this event allows you from, I think, the 30th of this month, which is just in a few days, that you can do the switch. Was it in here? Where's the switch? Yeah, over here. So the 30th of this month, you can do the switch, but we still have 34 days. So technically 30 days after, I can still make the choice to do the switch. My plan is to go for Lamilia mainly because of the pairing of Amber plus where he had the tricks plus Lamilia is just super, super strong. So that combination I will definitely go for, and I'm definitely still planning to do that. But I don't have the rush for that much. I would like to have that for the next arena brush. But the next arena rush is, well, this is when the server battle start, but the next arena rush is starting over here, or like, that is pretty much the end. So that is going to be in 14 days from now or 13 days from now. That is probably when I will do the switch and take it out. But in the meantime, I think I want to blast through a lot of the crystals that I have in Giants. I do already have Giants towards Scout Battle where I can already max this, because Giants is one of the easier dungeons to get pretty fast in, as you probably have seen over here. Haven't done any dragons just yet, but I could easily do dragons, but I'm really not interested in dragons anytime early. This one, not yet. This one is on 47 seconds, which is not that bad yet. I definitely will do this a little bit more farming. This one I can do right now. I think I'll do it like 1 or 2 days, and then, or like 1 or 2 like scout battles of 8 hours, and then call it a day on that. And I have been doing a fair bit on this, because this is also a 39 right now, so that is definitely a thing. Might you ask, how about the cell selection for artifacts? Well, you have 1,600 spots for artifacts. I would just fill up the whole 1,600 spots first, which will take you a fair bit of time because you're not farming that many artifacts in the first place. And then you could consider like starting to sell your artifacts. Whereas your runes, you have to upgrade them to see it's like which one is good to upgrade, not to, good to upgrade. Artifacts is super chill. They come at a plus 15 because they already have all of the rolls in it right away. And that just makes things a lot more chill for artifact farming, where you don't have to care as much and just fill like the whole storage. It's not a big deal whatsoever. So as I mentioned, we'll still be doing like the weaving between dimensional hole energy and my normal scout energy, or my normal, I see scout over there, my normal energy over there. And that's just the way it go. I still keep doing a lot of this, and then I will have some good grinds the moment I want to start like upgrading things. Currently, if I have a team running, like my Necro is still running 1 minute, I just keep it on 1 minute. I'm not really actively changing anytime I get an upgrade. I just at some point upgrade all of the runes, and then I go to the next dungeon I want to farm, and there I will actually see is like, hey, how do I want to get those upgrades in there. Thing that I do have for Giants is this thing, Mr. Banana. He is best if he would be skilled up, because then he has like lower cooldowns and more damage out there. I feel like I'm gonna try to get away with it without actually doing that. So the typical team for my Giants team will be Luna. I did get the Luna from previous week. And then going for a Teshar plus a Konamiya combo, like the most common combo out there, but it's just super simple to build, so I'm not really sure if I'm gonna make another video on that. It's just the Teshar, Konamiya, plus the Prillia. Where the hell is my Prillia? Prillia over there. Plus the Luna, and then plus like Mr. Banana over here. That is by far the safest team out there. I got the fastest run that I had prior without the Banana guy, but with a Shaman. Only thing is that Shaman isn't super safe, and this thing has max HP damage on all 3 skills, whereas the Spectra skill 1 is gonna add absolutely nothing to the table on that boss. And him having the double life, like if your Giants is failing, make this guy. Like without skill ups, skill tree that you're looking for is this, so all the way bottom, and then these 2 on top. So everything that says max HP, max HP, max HP, and max HP. Don't get confused about this one that also does say max HP. This one is you want max HP plus 100% extra damage. So that's the only mistake you could make. It's like, oh, I'm following max HP, I could do this one. No, you still want to go this one. And then it is like if the enemy is immune to stuns, you just deal 100% more damage, which adds a lot of damage. I would try that first without skill ups, because it's actually a big waste if you start throwing a lot of Devilmons in him, which he's just for Giants. And sure, I have a fair bit of Devilmons in the early game right now, because you get a fair bit from a lot of things. But he's not really worth to throw Devilmons in my opinion. What I deviled thus far, some people might ask, I deviled Amber fully. I am working on Devilmons for tricks through the event of the support event, which is going to be this one over here. So I still have like 3 more skill ups, which also kind of fits in here. And then I will throw 1 more Devilmon at it, and then he's done. And then I also still have the event over here where I can have more Devilmons in there, which I haven't done yet. So still have a good bit of Devilmons. The Lamilia that I will pick up will be fully skilled right away, which is kind of nice. I did also fully skill up my Veromos, but I kind of also want to see is like, okay, what kind of units do I pull? Because this one, for example, I will definitely want to Devilmon this, because it's very nice for having extra rate on the Oblivion right there. So that's definitely something that I will potentially use. And that is just the main thing that I'm looking for. It's like, hey, which unit will I use in the most amount of content? And therefore, I kind of want to give it a skill ups over there. Tiana, you could skill up, but it's actually not that much of a must. I did also pull next to the Tiana, which is a really nice unit, is the one over here. I do also have this one as a net 5, that one as a net 5, but those are not that interesting. This one. This one is one of the best defense breakers in game. So I could go for a combination, especially in Siege, where I go for the Choco Knight, Tiana, and then a nuker. Best nuker in game would be a Zyros. I don't have a Zyros just yet. But if I want to go for a free-to-play nuker, this thing is actually quite underrated. This thing actually does have a fair bit of damage, which does have a pretty hard nuke. But if you already pulled any net 5 that would potentially be a nuker, use whatever you pulled over there, of course. But that would be an option for me if I want to build that towards Siege and I simply don't have any other proper nukers just yet. There's always some options out there. So for this week, I'm not going to be asked to go into Siege. But starting next week, after I farmed a bit more in Giants, I will then have some Will Runes from my Necro farming. I will have some speedy-ish runes from Swift that I can kind of compete with the Vio of other people. So sure, they could proc on me, but if I make the right team, I just clear them in a few hits in Siege, and that is kind of doable. So starting next week, I'm also planning to do more Siege, more Arena. Right now, I'm already out of the Rookie League thing. I just currently set up like a weak defense. I still will do my rifles, or I'm just trying to find some people, which I have been doing, that have like a 1-unit defense. You can click on this thing for returning players, by the way. That's you can actually check that fast. So a single unit, we go in with whatever team you have, clear it relatively fast, even though that this is a proper annoying unit, but he's supposed to revive his allies, which he's not going to do right now. Not sure if I'm going to kill myself on that reflect, which could also be a thing. But yeah, that's just kind of the thing that I'm doing for Arena. But so far, I'm not focusing on Arena too much yet. But I will definitely start doing that the moment I have the proper units for it. And I kind of have the proper units already for it, but not really the runes just yet. But you don't have to super hard rush it. As long as you just like keep on farming, keep doing your scout battles, know what your goal is, know what your plan is, then you can keep going with that. Also, these pretty much finished all of this. Just have to do this, but that's pretty simple. And that's another 1,000 crystals over there. These, I could finish all of them over there. This, I could actually finish all of it. So I kind of can finish all of it by now. But I'm just kind of keeping those in to some extent because I can use that for the ultimate beginner guide later. Otherwise, if I clear everything, everything will be gone. So that's my reasoning for not doing it just yet, but for a lot of other people, I would recommend to do that. Also, something that you might not have done yet is get all of the stars on all of these scenarios. I would highly recommend to do that as well. I can still pick up my second week over here. So I picked up the Luna previous week. I am planning to go for... Does this one work on this client? Oh, this is the one that's... Oh, yeah, it does work on this client. So the one that I will go next week is Amduit, because he's very good for arena defense, and I don't have a good arena defense yet, and I will try to arena rush in the week coming up, but that is like 2 weeks from now. So in the current week, I have a few options. I could go either for a Gemini for a strip, or a, well, strip and a defense break, but since I pulled the Dark Cookie, Gemini gets a little bit less interesting. And that's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind. It's like, oh, if I pull X, then Y becomes more or less interesting. So therefore, I don't think I will go for Gemini. I think I will just pick up a Lucas. He will be mainly for the Rift Beasts. But if you want to clear Rift Beasts for Scout Battle to the max, you actually do need 7 million in these. And getting 7 million like this one is relatively close. It is doable, but you're very much going to need a Lucas for that in the early game to get 7 million. And at some point, definitely for... I already noticed that a whole bunch of the runes I got is like, oh, that's a cool rune with crit rate and crit damage, but I just need the attack gem in there. And that is what you get from those Rift Beasts. So, for example, if we're checking a rune, let me see if I can find a quick example with some crit rate and some crit damage, but no attack. Yeah, this, for example. If we put attack in here, which you can do with the enchant, that would be very nice. It's not the craziest of runes by all means, but it is a decent rune. And getting that is relatively easy, but I would need to get a bunch of Rift Beasts in. And Rift Beast farming itself is always slow. It's always going to be 1 minute plus of runs. So scout battling that is actually nice. So we would need to get 7 million in that. And to get 7 million in that, I will make a video guide. I think that's going to be the next video where I already have the Lucas picked up. And then I will go into getting every rift of worlds towards 7 million. Yeah, that will be a nice one for our next video. Also, think been yapping enough for this one. You understand how to do some of the farming that you can do on the Spirit, like Punisher Script right now. It's not really failing, it's just crazy slow. That's the main thing. And as long as you're running it fine, it's fine. I think I will run one whole session of 500 Amira's luck on this. So I have like a fair bit of things that I can work with, that it's not just the main stat. And you're gonna find like a lot of them that totally don't make any sense. If you want to have a proper guide of how artifacts work, I have a lot of videos on that as well. So there's a lot of like ambiguous things of like, oh, what is a crit damage first? What is crit damage more? I do have videos explaining all of that. So I would recommend to check out those videos if you just search for it on YouTube, or you go through like the guides thing that I have in the description down below. There's like a whole bunch of guides on the right side, and do have a whole bunch of explanation over there, because artifacts could be kind of like, yo, what the hell is going on for a first-time player, because the game doesn't explain it that well, I would say. So yeah, that's all for this video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any particular questions about the beginner series or things that I maybe have missed, let me know in the comments. I could maybe just explain it quickly in the comments, or revert you to a different video, or it might be a next video. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.